Hey everyone, this is Chouchou, and he is my 3-week-old foster kitten. He's super cute, but getting him to this point in his life has been quite a journey. So I wanted to introduce you guys to him and tell you about how special he is and what his life has been like so far during the first 3 weeks. Yeah, you're 3 weeks old now. Chouchou was surrendered to a local animal hospital in a shoebox, and when he came here, he was just 3 days old and extremely small, weighing just 70 grams. We were asked to take him on because he's dealing with a pretty significant medical challenge. Chouchou has a cleft palate, so the roof of his mouth is not solidly formed. And because of that, he can't safely nurse on a mama cat or even drink from a bottle, because there's nothing separating his mouth from his nasal cavity. If he were to drink from a bottle or nurse, the food would just come out of his nose and very likely go into his lungs, which would be fatal for him. So he has to be tube fed. And he came to the right place because not every foster parent tube feeds, but it's something that I find myself doing a lot, especially with these little medical kittens. Yeah, tube feeding is why you're alive, and you're doing great. I use a small rubber catheter to go directly down into the esophagus so that he can be tube fed without the food going into his mouth. Tube feeding is a very delicate skill set, and if it's done improperly, it can result in the death of the animal. So it's not something that I recommend anyone do without hands-on training. But for kittens like Chouchou who can't safely eat, this is their lifeline. It's not just important that the tube is placed properly, but also that you know how much you can safely feed a kitten. With Chouchou, it's so important that he is not overfed so that he doesn't regurgitate. If he were to regurgitate, it would be really dangerous for him. He would very easily aspirate. So I feed him on the low end of what he should be receiving during a meal, and I feed him every couple hours and monitor his weight very closely to make sure that he is going up in a slow and steady way.
You're a big boy!
So he started at just 2 cc's per meal, and I've slowly worked him up to about 5 cc's per meal now. And you are doing an amazing job at eating. Yeah, you are a great little tube baby. Actually, to tell you the truth, you'll see, he does fuss with me a lot during tube feeding time. It's not his favorite thing in the world, but he always purrs immediately after his meal because he loves having a full belly. It's just the thing we have to do, and we're going through it together. When he first arrived, I noticed some strange breathing sounds, which scared me a lot. I was so nervous that he had already aspirated and had pneumonia, which I don't think he would have been able to survive. So we did a course of antibiotics, which also had to be given via tube. Again, he can't even have like a drop of medicine orally. He has to have everything with a tube. So we did the antibiotics as well as several days of nebulizer and even oxygen. But I started to realize that the sound wasn't actually coming from his lungs. It sounded like it was coming from his mouth. Because of the way that his mouth is shaped, he makes a really crunchy sound when he breathes in, but it is not coming from his lungs, it's coming from his mouth. When he breathes in, he's breathing in through his nose, but then there's no separation between the nasal cavity and the mouth, so the air is traveling past his tongue, which is like kind of pressed upwards, and it's almost like snoring. It's like a snoring type sound. Yeah, I know, I'm telling them about your sounds. I know. So he kind of sounds like, an elderly pug or like a bulldog after a long hike, or just like an old guy snoring. So that's what you're hearing when you hear those sort of strange sounds that he makes. That's not the only issue he had when he first arrived. He is doing a great job now, but in the beginning he was very, very constipated. So for a minute there, he actually had to be given an enema to help things move through. I also used a rubber catheter for that, to give him a gentle warm water enema to get everything kind of flowing steadily. After giving him the enema, I stimulate him with a tissue and voila, he poops. Fortunately now things are moving and grooving on their own, and he no longer needs a tube in both ends to keep things going. Don't worry, I use a different tube for the enemas than I do for feeding. I got you, dude. As he started to get bigger, it became clear he was a really unique looking guy. He is so soft, like a little bunny or a cloud or a lamb or a dandelion puff. His fur always looked really curly and feathery. He's just a fascinating guy. Sometimes he looks a little scraggly, so once he was a little bigger and more stable, I gave him his very first bath. Okay, so my goal is to do an entire kitten bath in just about a minute or less. I wet the body and I avoid the head. Good job, Chou. Good job, Chouchou. I know. What on earth? I'm just gonna use my baby shampoo and lather him really quickly. And I know people always say, turn the water off, but it has to be a very specific temperature. And if I turn it off, the temperature is gonna change. So it's just a very, very light stream. I lather him really quickly and then I rinse him right away. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see what you're gonna look like, little guy. Oh, are you gonna poop? It's okay, we all poop in the bath. Just kidding. Good job, baby. Okay, and that's it. So I'm gonna turn this off. Just wrap him up like a little bundle. Good job, I'm so proud of you. I do want to wash his face because his face is a little crusty. Oh my goodness gracious, what have I done to you, sir? Do your head. I know. I just want to get this crusty little bit, get you looking so nice and shiny and new. I know. You're doing great. You're doing great. You're okay, baby boy. Okay. Okay. Good job. You did it. Okay, so after a bath, it's important to get warm and dry as quickly as possible. Wow, that's a really amazing look, sir. So try to fluff the hair so it can get aerated. This is amazing. Look at you. One of the fastest ways to get a kitten dry after a bath is to use a little toothbrush and back comb them. So we're gonna just style you right up there, baby boy. Hopefully, it'll be nice and fluffy and clean. Good job! You look so nice and fluffy. Beautiful! Good job, Chouchou. He looks like a little dandelion poof. I could just blow on you and make a wish. I love you. Good job. You really did a good job with your bath, sir. Well done, sir. Enjoy your nap. And now he is so fluffy. Now that his eyes are open and his face is changing, it looks like he has a really flat face. It's obvious he has some brachycephalic characteristics, which unfortunately is commonly linked to having a cleft palate. Cats are really not supposed to have such flat faces. It makes it harder for them to breathe, and it can result in the plates of the skull not forming properly, resulting in that huge gap on the palate. So, he is a challenging guy, but we're getting through it. This week he's going to see a dental specialist, and hopefully after that we will know a little bit more about what the future holds for him. With cleft palates, especially when they're this severe, they definitely need surgery, often multiple surgeries, but he has to grow a lot bigger before that is possible. My understanding is that kittens need to be 6 to 8 months to even get their first surgery. So I'm really eager to go to his specialist appointment and see what they say about what the next couple of months will look like for him. But for now, my focus has really just been keeping him alive and fed and happy. And you know what? We're doing pretty good with that. So I'll be sure to share more about Chouchou and his condition as I learn more. For now, if you want to help Chouchou and other kittens like him, the best way to help is by making a donation to Orphan Kitten Club. So that's a look at Chouchou's first 3 weeks in foster care. Be sure to subscribe so you can follow along for more updates in the future.